Hello everyone, my name is Ajay Mathur, and in this video I will tell you how to read 6 books in a month and remember what you have read. I will show you a simple 3-stage method to enhance your reading and learning experience and have a long-lasting memory of all the important lessons that you got out of the book that you just finished. Now, this is not a speed reading tutorial, but this is my effort to show you a bigger picture to enhance your reading and learning experience. Watch it till end for an amazing workable tip to remember as long as you want the key lessons of the book that you just finished. Let's start. You may have heard an average CEO reads about 52 books a year, and you may have explored many methods on how to read 100 books in a year and so on. So clearly, reading is a transformational experience, and I'm not going to go deep into the benefits of reading books because I assume that you already know that it is life-changing. But how do you do that when you're not accustomed to it? And how to make it a really transformational, life-changing experience? So here is a quick breakdown of my reading approach, which helped me finish 15 books in less than 3 months. And yes, I remember the key messages from each of those books. I would love to tell you that I was not good in reading. Even if I knew speed reading techniques, I found reading books a bit boring until I implemented this approach. In case you're wondering what I have been reading, then these are the books that I have completed. As you can see, all of them are non-fiction books, but these techniques you can apply to fiction or non-fiction. So your reading experience is divided into 3 stages. One is before you start reading a single word, then the reading itself, and once you have finished your first reading session or second or third reading session. So before you start reading, as Simon Sinek has said, start with why. Why are you reading this particular book? Reading just because most successful people have read books is not a good enough reason. You need to ask yourself, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of this book? If somebody recommended this to you, maybe ask them how it changed their lives and how it enhanced their knowledge, and see if you can connect with that. If it's just a matter of reading and finishing many books as possible, then I think you're wasting your time, because knowledge is useless until it can be worked upon. For example, my purpose of reading books was very clear. I was interviewing the authors of these books, and I wanted to read their content so that I know about them beforehand to have a better, productive, meaningful interview. You can notice that I have not interviewed some of the authors yet, but I still read their books because the subject matter that they've written about helped me frame better questions to the authors that I was interviewing, because they also wrote about the same subject. Now, once you have a clear purpose to why you are reading this particular book, set a goal to finish. And make that a hard deadline, really dead, non-negotiable. Come what may, you have to finish the book by that time. Now, this is when Stephen Covey tells you, right, start with the end in mind. And the end in mind is, these are the things I'm going to learn from it. By this time, I am going to finish this book. For example, it was easy for me because I have to finish reading the books before the interview, before I interview the author, which was already been scheduled. So I can't move it. So I find time to finish the book before that deadline, because once you put something on a top priority, then finding time becomes so easy, and it doesn't remain a concern anymore. Setting up your goal is super important and gives your brain some instructions and ideas on how to finish the task before the deadline. It truly works. I can make another video on how the goal setting works and how to make the most of it. Let me know if you want in comment section below, and if you want, I can make another video about goal setting. Now, coming to the second stage, which is during the reading experience. So what is the first thing you read? Do you start reading the book straight away from chapter 1? Stop doing that. First thing is to understand the metadata about the book, which is the information about the book itself, other than the juice of the book, which is written in all the chapters. So where do you find it? Let's take a book to see the example. Let me take this book, which is You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza, one of my favorite books. Where do you find the metadata of the book? First thing you read is the back cover. In the back cover, you will know there are some testimonials. So those are the people who are talking about this book, what they got out of it. And then there is a summary of from author. They are telling what you can find and how you can transform your life once you read this book. That's the first thing you read, very first thing. And then you go to the front of the book and you open the book and then start reading from page 1. Page 1, not chapter 1, page 1, which is the most likely have table of contents. So in this case, it's got praise for You Are the Placebo. So these are the testimonials that people have written, and these are very important. Do read them, because many people who have read this book, they have told how the book has changed their mindset, the way they think about your body, how your body can heal you. Those are the kind of experiences that have been written here in page 1 and page 2. Read them, don't ignore them, they're very important. And then comes the most important part of any book, which is after this copyright information, you don't have to read that, is the table of content. Table of content is the most important part of any book. Most important part. Every time you pick up the book to read the table of content first. In this case, this book has been divided into two different sections. One is information and one is transformation. So it's very clear that in the first section, he's going to tell me about the fundamentals of what is you or the placebo all about. And then in the second section, he's going to tell me how I can use this information. Once I know that, I look at the chapters. So you got 10 chapters in section 1 and 2 chapters in section 2. So the section 2 looks quite small. Now you go through all the 10 chapters titles, what it is about, like suggestibility, attitude, belief, quantum mind, 3 stories of personal transformation, all of that. This is really important if you want to memorize the content of the book in long term. Really, really important. And I'm assuming that you're not finishing the book in one session, so you will take multiple sessions. In every session, every time you pick up the book, you go through the table of contents, and I'll tell you why. So let's say you're reading this book for the first time, you've never heard about it, you go and look at the table of contents. Table of contents, as I just showed you, will tell you what to expect from it, how it is structured, and you will know where are the fundamental ideas and where the juice of the book. Now, let's say you finished 60 pages in the first sitting yesterday, and today you have to continue where you left yesterday. So what do? You just go to that page? No, don't do that. Don't just go to the page where you left yesterday. Reread the table of contents again. Question yourself which chapters you finished yesterday and what were the main ideas there. Then look at your notes from yesterday's reading. This will help you continue seamlessly and help you remember the content of the book that you read the days before. Now, while doing the reading itself, needless to say that you have to do speed reading. And as I said, this video is not about speed reading, as you can find many resources about that on YouTube itself to learn it. What works for me in speed reading is the pointer technique, which is moving your finger or a pointer with the line and then let your eyes follow that pointer. That will help you increase the speed of your reading. This technique alone will help you double the number of words you read per minute within a week. Again, I'm not going to go in details of that, but speed reading using pointer would help you immensely. Now, after you finished your first sitting, it's quite obvious that reading a book non-stop can take up to 2 to 5 to 6 hours, depending on how big the book is. Now, not many people will have such a long free time slot to finish a book in one sitting, so I'm assuming that you will take 4 to 5 to maximum 6 sessions of 20 to 30, 40 minutes each. Therefore, you need to have a seamless flow from one sitting, one session to the next, and they could be easily at least a day apart. And that is where your note-taking comes in place. On every single page you read, you have to highlight the key lines and the keywords from it. If you're reading from a physical book, use your highlighter and pencil to write it down. If it is an ebook, it becomes so simple. You can just comment on the side of it and highlight on every page. It's very easy, and you can see the summary of all your highlights in one place. Super easy to use ebooks. All the books that I told you I've read, all of them I've read from my iPad. So when you start your second, third, or fourth session, make sure you read your notes from the previous session, which will help you stay in the flow, and the next chapter will make more sense. Going through these notes will take around 1 to 2 minutes and will make your reading experience an authentic learning. Now, the bonus tip to remember the content and the key messages for as long as you want. I would highly recommend using the spaced repetition technique. You might already know about it. All you have to do is to set 4 reminders in your calendar. One is 2 days after finishing the book, second reminder 10 days after finishing the book, third reminder after a month, and fourth after 60 days. On those reminders, all you have to do is to spend 4 to 5 minutes and go through the end of chapter notes that you had prepared when you read the book. Now, this technique is spaced repetition method. You might already know about it, and it works like a charm to remember things for as long as you want. You are repeatedly revising what you have learned. The idea is based on a forgetting curve, which goes like this. And by the time it's day 60, you've already forgotten 90% of the information that you read. So if you don't repeat it. So these are the reminders after 2 days of finishing the book, a month, 10 days, a month, 60 days, and if you like, you can do at the end of year to make it a kind of permanent memory. So that could be your 5th reminder after 360 days or something like that. If you do that for a year, you will remember that book for next 10 years, definitely, if not lifetime. So finally, to summarize, 3 stages to read a book. Before you start reading a book, you start with why and set a target date to finish. While reading the book itself, you read the table of content first and sort of memorize it, and you read the table of content every time. Use the speed reading with a pointer technique, which is the easiest, and then make notes after every page in every chapter that you do read. Step 3 is what you do after your reading session. Review the notes that you wrote on every page and review the notes that you made at the end of the chapter in previous reading session. If you follow these tips, I'm sure you will very soon not just saying that you have read 75 books in 2021, but will also be happy that you remember what you read. If this video has added some value to you, then please hit this like button, leave the comment below, And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because I'm dedicated to publishing one video every week, and majority of my videos are interviews with best-selling authors and some productive tips such as this one. I will see you again next week. Until then, you take care and keep learning.